Okay, so welcome everyone to the NGI Tetra Public Funding Masterclass. My name is Ella and I'm going to be your moderator today. So this is our first webinar of the Public Funding Masterclass, and today we are going to talk about how to understand the public funding options in Europe, how you will get like a good thorough overview of different options, and also how to maybe read the call text and how to understand it better. And first, I would like to talk a little bit about the NGI Tetra. So to those of you who maybe don't know yet so well, so NGI Tetra is the business accelerator for the NGI beneficiaries. And NGI Tetra has already been running for almost 3 years now. And our aim is to support the NGI beneficiaries in their business and in developing their business. And for that purpose, we do different kinds of activities like trainings, mentoring, and we develop different kinds of materials. And during these 3 years, we have done almost 40 webinars. We have done 4 boot camps, and I think over 100 hours of specialized one-on-one mentoring. So it has been really, I think, a great benefit, I hope, to all the NGI projects. And currently this masterclass is one of the last bigger things we are going to be organizing. So we really hope that we can still make a big impact in the next months also to come. We also have some webinars still upcoming. So definitely keep an eye on the NGI Tetra webpage, because we have a lot of interesting information coming. And even after we finish the project, the website is still going to be active and it's going to work like a database. All the webinars and all of our materials will be shared on the webpage there. So it's still a very good place to get the insights if you want to develop your project further, or you want to get some insights about financing your projects. So definitely NGI Tetra webpage is the place to check. About today, so as I said, today is the first webinar of the Public Funding Masterclass. And why we created this masterclass is to give a good thorough overview of different funding options in Europe and maybe how to approach them, how to read the call texts, and if you are looking for funding, like how to understand which ones of those are for you. So it's going to be a series of 5 webinars. The webinars are going to be happening all in March on Thursdays at 3 o'clock Central Europe time. So exactly the time that we are here today. And it's going to be also allowed free one-to-one mentoring for all the NGI participants. So for the ones here today who are from outside of the NGI, unfortunately, you can just listen to our webinars, but we can't do the mentoring for you. And for the NGI participants, we are gonna stop on the mentoring a little bit later in the end of the webinar. We will go through what is the mentoring exactly, how does it work, and what do you need to do to get matched with your mentor. But today, as I said, today we are talking about more like an overall topic, how to find the funding options in Europe, what kind of options are available, and how to read the call text and understand what is asked from you, because it can be difficult. Then next week, we will go a little bit maybe more specific and talk about the EIC accelerator, the life cycle and the stage 1 application and the different points concerned to that. Then the third webinar is going to open some strategies on the tendering and how to win a tender abroad. So it's going to talk about what is a tender, how is it different from a normal grant application, and what are the tender options available. Our fourth webinar is going to stop on the cascade funding. So once again, it's going to just say what is cascade funding, how does it work, how can I get information about it, how do I apply for it. And then we are going to end our series with the Horizon Europe. That's going to go through the Horizon Europe applications and really let you know what are the tricks and tips on how to write a good proposal for the Horizon. So this is going to be our masterclass. And just wanted to say about today's webinar that before we get started, if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to write to the chat. So we will keep an eye on the chat and we will answer all your questions throughout the webinar, so everyone will get an answer. And then let's get started. I'm happy to introduce you to our speakers today. So with me are here Marta and Susanna, and they are gonna be, I'm gonna be giving the microphone over now so they can let you know about what's gonna be like waiting for us today. So I wish everyone a very pleasant next few hours from my side.
Good, so let's start with Marta. So I will be the second. So Marta, the floor is yours. And thanks, Elo, for the introduction.
Thank you, hello, and thank you to Susanna for inviting me to join this webinar. I will start sharing the screen so that we can check if you all can see it in a while. Let me check. Perfect. Okay, so I will just close the, okay. So actually, I'm Marta Calderaro. I'm coming from the Italian Agency for the Promotion of European Research. And I'm actually a national contact point in Horizon Europe in Cluster 4, Digital Industry and Space, but as well as also in the European Innovation Council. Today, I'm happy to be here because actually the Next Generation Internet Initiative, as you may know, is a really relevant initiative it was in Horizon 2020, and it is in Horizon Europe, and we will see also in the future how much this will be enhanced by the European public funding. So going in depth to what we are going to look at, here just few notes about my experiences in the past. I was a national contact point, the Italian national contact point in Horizon 2020 for information and communication technologies related program, and now as well national contact point for Horizon Europe for Cluster 4, which I'm also following in Italy as responsible of the competence team that is following the digital industry and space environment. So actually, I want to give to you just a few notes about what we are going to look at today with this little speech that I will have. So just concerning my related speech, then we are going also to look at Susanna one. We are going to see a bit of the overview of the funding opportunities that you as SMEs or startups has in the different European ecosystem and European environment. We are going to see the different differences between the funding related schemes, and as well as some tips that I wanted to give to you also by looking to good practices or examples of SMEs that has been already funded by Horizon 2020. So as being invited by the Tetra project, I wanted to have a look a bit more on what has been done in the past within the Next Generation Internet Initiative. And actually, this was what has been identified by the European Commission as major building blocks coming from the Next Generation Internet Initiative. So major building blocks that, of course, has a common understanding within the Internet Commons. So as you can see, within the Next Generation Internet Initiative has been funded several technological areas, more concerning decentralized solutions, including blockchain and distributed ledger technologies, but as well within data and AI, different type of application like email instant messaging, video chat or collaboration, trustworthy hardware and manufacturing. I'm just citing them as far as I can see, the network infrastructure, including routing, P2P and VPN. So those are actually the ecosystem, the environment that we have today right now. And actually concerning this ecosystem, I was going a bit in depth, and I wanted you also to look at it concerning what the Next Generation Internet Initiative is doing on open source software and hardware. So actually the European Commission has been published this final study report on the impact on the open source software and hardware on technological independence, competitiveness, and innovation. That for us, it's quite relevant to get it known. Why? Because as you know, we are now in a time being where the European Commission is fostering the strategic autonomy of the European Union and the technological sovereignty in some specific areas. So actually what has been pointed out within this position paper is that NGI actually is investing and will invest more and more in internet commons, and in particular on open source software and hardware. Actually, we have, as for December 2020, 450 awarded projects with different third parties. Some of you are already listening that are part of such a community. And actually we are more or less represented by individuals or micro enterprises and small and medium enterprises. So by looking in depth into the report, it was also citing about an NGI success story that I wanted to cite it to you, because I think really that by looking to examples of what has been done also from other side, it's quite relevant for us also to understand where we can go in the future. So actually, this success story is concerning the Nextcloud application, which is an open source end user application, which enable the users to synchronize data between computers, mobile devices, and within the cloud. So actually, we are talking about an open source content collaboration platform that within 2020 has reached more than 8 million in terms of revenues for its platform. Actually, this service has been born and incubated with the goal to improve the control users to have actually control on their data stored in the cloud. They have received a venture capital investment within also the support of the Next Generation Internet Initiative. But afterwards, and this is something quite interesting for us, they have created a governance model that was more oriented to be open, so making the possibility to have and the viability to have both a commercial but as well a volunteer community. And they actually build up the services in order to be in line within the security and privacy by design related principles. So at the moment, the Nextcloud platform has been used by large university, by public broadcasting institutions and stations, as well as public administration. But as well, it gives the availability to have an open source code via, of course, an open source license. And this facilitates the security and compliance auditing, as well as ensure the freedom to operate for other organizations. So this is an example of what all of you can do within the NGI support. And this is my preliminary start to think about all the information that I can give to you today. So going in depth concerning the different opportunities that we have, I would like to remind a bit about the digital transformation within the European Commission as a major priority. As you know, our European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, wanted and is really pushing from 2019 to have a digital transformation that empower the economy, empower the society, and gives the possibility to use the European solution across Europe and as well outside Europe, so at the international ecosystem. So actually we have 6 different Commission priorities that has been set up within the next 3 years up to now, where one of those is the one concerning the European digital strategy, Europe Fit for the Digital Age. The European Commission is fostering the strategy to support the digital transformation via different set of course, of major policies and strategy and specific policies and strategy. But one thing that I wanted to remind to all of you is that one of the major KPI that the European Commission posed to herself is to support the Sustainable Development Goals defined by the United Nations. So when we are going to apply to several funding opportunities, we should always be reminded about the Sustainable Development Goals and the empowerment of the society from our solutions. So actually within this frame, we have given different set of major political priorities. Of course, the European digital strategy within Europe Fit for the Digital Age. And as well, you probably have heard about the 2030 Digital Compass. And of course, the European Green Deal. But actually, the European Commission within those different set of priorities has also given a different specific set of political framework, starting from artificial intelligence and excellence and trust to the European data strategy that has been launched within the European digital strategy, I would like to remind, on February 2020, and then the Data Governance Act and the Data Act that has been recently launched as a proposal to the European Council and the European Parliament last week. But as well, you have heard probably in all the TV shows about the European Chips Act, the European Security Strategy. Sorry, I forgot to silence my phone, I'm sorry. And as well, the Digital Services Act and the Digital Market Acts. So actually, the G-Connect related policy framework has been quite, how to say, has been evolved really in a really fast way. So here you have a bit of a summary of the major European policies that has been launched, and where you can also see, if you're interested about it, the evolution about the European policy framework that is going to be held as well in the next future, in particular concerning the Digital Market Act, the Digital Services Act, the European Data Act and the Chips Act, of course, and the AI Act. We are talking about proposals. So those are quite relevant for us to look how the European Commission would like to foster our European digital single market community and as well economy. So by looking to all these policy framework that we have just cited right now, you can see that actually the digital transformation is fostered by using several European funding instruments. Of course, we have as a major funding program, the Horizon Europe program, which I would like to remind to you is dedicated to research and innovation. And we are going to look at a bit in depth today, and then you are going also to have the latest webinar on this. Then we have the Digital Europe program, which is a new launched program in 2021, which is fostering the strategic capacities on digital transformation across Europe. The Connecting Europe Facility program, which is fostering the deployment of digital infrastructure in Europe. The Creative Europe program, which is dedicated to support creative industries and media and the media sector. The health dedicated program that is, of course, having an impact within digital transformation within the healthcare systems and as well in medical devices. And we have altogether national, regional and local instruments that has been supported via the Cohesion Fund, the Agriculture Fund, and of course the Resilience and Recovery Fund by national and regional support. And then the financial instruments supported by InvestEU. So actually we have, as you can see, an overall set of different programs that can be available for you to start approaching and to having opportunities for business, but also for changing our society. So, and supporting such an evolution. So I would like to focus a bit more today about Horizon Europe and Digital Europe, which are, of course, from my side, the programs that I look at more in depth. So actually, concerning Horizon Europe, as you know, Horizon Europe is the successor of, is based on the success of Horizon 2020 program, is the research and innovation dedicated program that and has a duration of 7 years from 2021 until 2027. So actually, Horizon Europe is structured in 3 different pillars and an horizontal one. Within those 3 different pillars, there is a support concerning excellent science via the European Research Council, via the mobility-related opportunities of researchers under the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, and as well via the research infrastructure dedicated program, where of course the digital infrastructure are engaged. We have as well the second pillar that is dedicated to global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. Actually, here there is a structure divided in several clusters, 6 clusters, which are focused on specific application domains or specific, we could say, major domains. So we have the one dedicated to health, to culture, creativity and inclusive society, to civil security for society, digital industry and space, which I'm going to talk about in a while, climate, energy and mobility, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture and environment. And then we have the third pillar dedicated to the breakthrough innovation and disruptive innovation, accelerated and scale, and of course scaled by small and medium enterprises, startups or spin-off. Within the European Innovation Council as well, we have several opportunities, and you are going to have the next webinar on the IC Accelerator. But I'm going to give a look on that as well. And the European Institute of Innovation and Technologies, which we are going to cite afterwards. So actually digital is span all over, as you can see. We have by looking at this structure, probably you could say, okay, the cluster for digital industry and space is the one that I should see, but no, digital is all over. Digital is an enabler. So we have the opportunity to look at opportunities for collaboration, in particular about training opportunities or mobility opportunities from academia to small and medium enterprises within the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions. Of course, the digital infrastructure, the application of several related digital technologies under specific application domains in the other clusters, and as well within Innovative Europe, you can imagine how much digital could bring to disruptive innovation and how much has the capability to create new market opportunities or new societal opportunities. Okay, so actually by looking in depth to Horizon Europe, as you probably know, Horizon Europe and other programs has the possibility to apply via a top-down or a bottom-up approach. Actually, when we are talking about a bottom-up approach, it means that the European Commission is not giving us a specific frame where they would like us to apply for. So they are not giving specific objectives in terms of specific line of investigation or specific technological focus, but they are giving an open funding opportunities. And these apply within the first pillar and the third pillar. But actually the European Commission, as you know, is as well launching top-down funding opportunities where is herself pushing for an objective-driven approach in specific technological domains. So actually within the second pillar, we have such a push, we have such objective-driven approach by the launch of specific open calls with specific scopes and specific expected outcomes. So concerning the possibility on application and submitting proposal within the first and the third pillar, there is as well the possibility to apply as mono-beneficiary schemes, and as well the possibility across the three pillars to apply in collaborative projects. So actually in the cluster and in the different clusters, actually we are more or less obliged to apply with specific collaborative research and innovation projects. Of course, this does not imply the cascade funding where you have already applied to, where there is the possibility for you to apply as a single mono beneficiary in the case the call for proposal is asking for it. So going a bit in depth concerning the second pillar, I would like to talk about the different opportunities that you have as small and medium enterprise within the second pillar, by informing you also about the usual type of action that we have in Horizon Europe. Within Horizon Europe, we have several types of actions. Those are not the sole ones that we have, but those are the most common that the European Commission is used to launch. So we have research and innovation actions that are going to give a 100% of funding rate for all the different legal entities participating in a consortium. So actually within the research and innovation action, research centers, universities, small and medium enterprises, as well as large enterprises can participate with the 100% funding rate, plus, of course, the 25% of indirect cost. The research and innovation actions, as you can see, are following the first level of technology readiness levels. So actually, they are focused more from research spanning from TRL 1 to TRL 4 for the technology development. The innovation actions actually are based on a funding rate of the 70% plus the 25% of indirect cost. Here, actually, there is the exception for non-profit entities, but as a small and medium enterprise, you will able only to co-invest your participation of the 30%. And actually, this is mainly based because the European Commission is fostering also an individual commitment to support the technology demonstration until the launch of the digital product to the market. And then, of course, we have the coordination and support action, where the European Commission is more supporting the community building phases and is supporting as well actions that could give a support to herself in defining the future research and innovation priorities. So how to participate in such a specific type of actions for the research and innovation action and the innovation action? The major rule is to participate via a consortium, so with at least 3 independent legal entities established in 3 different member states or associated countries in Horizon Europe, and actually of which one of them should be established in a member state. The associated countries are evolving during those years, so actually we have a list that is provided by the European Commission, where it's giving the latest information about the association of several countries. I would like to cite here, for example, UK-related participants, where there is the possibility that they could be associated in the future, and therefore now they can participate as they should be an associated country, but in the case they are not going to sign, probably in the future, they should be considered as a third country. And actually there is as well the possibility to engage third countries to Horizon Europe, so countries that are not member state of the European Union and are not associated countries to Horizon Europe. And this possibility is with financial contribution from the European Union, in particular for the low and medium income countries, and without, and of course there are exceptions, without the European funding for other countries concerning high income countries. Okay. Now I would like to go a bit in depth on the cluster 4, digital industry and space, by giving to you a bit of the frame concerning how the different work program of cluster 4 is structured. So actually, each work program in Horizon Europe has a differentiation on destinations. In the cluster 4, we have 6 different destinations, where you can see that the destination 3, the 4th one, and the 6th one are more dedicated to digital. Of course, digital is also relevant in other destinations, in the other ones, the one concerning industry and the one concerning space. But mainly the focus here for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 6th is really to support the technological development of digital solutions. So actually the 3rd destination is dedicated to world-leading data and computing technologies. There is the support to the approach to establish common European data spaces, the support to enhance the data analytics capacity across Europe, and to strengthen the shift from cloud to edge to IoT. And concerning the destination 4, this is more focused to digital and emerging technologies development for competitiveness and fit for the European Green Deal, where actually we have in particular a support on electronics, processors and photonics, AI data and robotics, connective technologies and emerging technologies. And of course, within this destination 6, a human-centered and ethical development of digital and industrial technologies, there is actually the major connection with the Next Generation Internet Initiative, in particular within Internet of Trust, within AI based on trust, extended realities, and the support to digital learning technologies. So actually, as you can see, we are going more in depth in Horizon Europe. We are at this time within the cluster for digital industry and space and within specific destinations. So there are several funding opportunities open for you that I wanted to cite to you in order to have a look after this, this brief speech of today. So actually there are opportunities concerning the open source for cloud-based services. This is a research and innovation action where I would like to remind you, it means that you can also apply via a consortium, via establishing a consortium for a 100% funding rate as well for you. There is the research and innovation action on programming tools for the decentralized intelligence and swarms. The research and innovation action that is going to have an 80% of financial support to third parties concerning internet architecture and decentralized technologies. Here, I would like to make a specification concerning this, because probably as you are beneficiaries of the financial support to third parties coming from Next Generation Internet Initiative, you might be interested not in participating in this specific open call, but to the ones that the project funded under this open call are going to be launched. So for sure, just for you to know, probably there are people that are applying to such consortium, that are applying to such open call, that are going to launch in the future specific funding opportunities concerning internet architecture and decentralized technologies, which is the main focus for you today. Then we have, of course, I have studied some things that probably for some of you are of interest and for others are not. So allow me to be a little bit more flexible. So we have a research and innovation action for the use of next generation safer internet solutions, in particular for technologies to identify digital child sexual abuse material. We have in particular a connection within the overall frame of the extended reality technologies concerning the research and innovation actions in novel technologies and in the interaction within the human, and as well concerning the extended reality learning, so to engage and interact with learning dedicated technologies. And actually we have as well a topic called Open on AI for Human Empowerment. I have given to you all the links that are going to be provided to you, so to have the chance to look at such funding opportunity also afterwards. But actually, as we have mentioned previously, we have Horizon Europe is fostering in particular the digital transformation via also several clusters. So your opportunities for collaboration cannot be finalized within the cluster for digital industry and space that we have just cited right now. But we have also other different areas of intervention where there are opportunities for you to collaborate. in particular within the cluster 1 health. This is enhancing digital solution for the healthcare and including personalized medicine. So here we have several opportunities for collaboration in the case you are going to develop specific vertical opportunities for the healthcare sector and medical devices. Concerning the cluster 2, culture, creativity, and inclusive society, we have the possibility, and sorry, here there is a typo on the box. In the case you are developing opportunities concerning digital technologies and softwares concerning the application via, by public administration, and as well as you would like to go more in depth concerning the concept of open source and how this could transform the society and the societal benefits of it, there are opportunities as well here. Civil security for society, one specific destination is concerning cybersecurity. And here, as you can see, I have just cited one example that to me was more related to your area of intervention. In particular, we have such research and innovation action on trustworthy methodologies, tools, and data security by design for dynamic testing of potentially vulnerable, insecure hardware and software components. And actually, here we have the possibility to apply until November this year. Then we have within the cluster 5, climate, energy, and mobility, all the different digital solutions dedicated to smart mobility, to smart communities and cities. And actually, here we have really several opportunities in this domain. And within the cluster 6, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment, of course, beside the smart agriculture related applications, there is as well all a connection within the environmental observation practices done by, of course, the use with several infrastructure, digital infrastructure or related space infrastructure, but as well by the single citizen. So we have cited as well the possibility and the opportunity coming from the Pillar 3. In particular, Pillar 3 is dedicated to Innovative Europe within the European Innovation Council. This is fostering the support with a 10 billion euro program. I do not want to go really in depth to you on this because you are going to have a specific training on how to apply to the C Accelerator, but I would like to give to you some insights, some information concerning the structure of the European Innovation Council. So actually within the European Innovation Council, there is the possibility to apply to different schemes, the Pathfinder scheme that is supporting every stage research on breakthrough technologies with grants of up to 3-4 million of collaborative research and innovation projects. So we are of technology readiness levels from 1 to 3, 4. The transition scheme that is supporting the technology maturation from proof of concept to validation. Here, the transition is actually supporting specific eligible projects coming from the Pathfinder and the RC proof of concept. And then we have the accelerator that is fostering the development and the scaling up of disruptive innovation driven by and developed by startups and SMEs. And this has been done via blended finance schemes. So actually grants up to 2.5 million, or as well as with equity investments that are going to be up to 15 million or more in the case in exceptional cases. So actually, as you can see from here, the European Commission has just released an impact report where it has been looking to the funded projects within the accelerator and the Pathfinder, because the transition previously wasn't within the pilot phase, has a major funding opportunity. So they have actually looked at the digital and industry 5.0 related opportunities. And as you can see here, actually the major funded projects has been supported via the accelerator on AI, cloud, big data, and machine learning. But here you can see that as well, there was really a strong support on digital media, IoT, fintech, and digital services. So actually, of course, here there are really several opportunities to go in depth via the accelerator funding scheme. But actually, within the third pillar, I wanted as well to cite to you the European Institute of Innovation and Technologies. Actually, the EIT is structured with different knowledge and innovation communities. And one of that has been called EIT Digital. It's one of the first one that has been launched after 2008. And actually is really creative, a competitive digital related digital European ecosystem. An ecosystem based and composed by startups, university, small and medium enterprises, research institutes, of course, developments, engineers, where actually there are several related opportunities to collaborate. Of course, you have been served as NGI beneficiary by the Tetra project on the accelerator scheme. So actually, this service might be not the one that you are going to look at, but the IT Digital is also launching specific competition, in particular that are more we could say more fit to the purpose, and also as well with less European financial contribution than the one that we have looked at before. So we have dedicated schemes that are more similar to the cascade funding, where the opportunities are also to collaborate with a little number of small and medium enterprises, or as well as mono beneficiaries. So I really encourage you to have a look at what the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, in particular EIT Digital, is launching for you now. And there are several opportunities right now open. Okay, so I went a bit fast, but I wanted as well to touch a specific program, the new program that has been launched within, which is the Digital Europe program. Actually, this program is a new program that has been launched by the European Commission to foster the digital transformation across Europe. And how? The Digital Europe program is quite different from the Horizon Europe one, because it's fostering the digital capacities, in particular the development of infrastructure across Europe, but is also fostering, and this is something that is quite relevant for you, the deployment of innovative solutions by small and medium enterprises and by the public administration. So actually here we have the possibility to look at the most innovative solution, develop the most innovative solution at the very that needs to be scaled up and needs to be really that are really near to the market and has a short time to market frame, in order to support the digital transformation across Europe. So actually within, as you can see here, within the major objectives of the Digital Europe program, we have the deployment of the latest technologies to offer services to citizens, and that's why the public administration, of course, and to businesses. And of course, here there is as well the objective to support small and medium enterprise to acquire and access latest technologies, but as well as skills, competencies, and expertises. So actually, the major aim of the Digital Europe program is to support the deployment and support the evolution of the European economy and society in the digital age. So that's why this program is quite important for us to look at. And of course, also to make Europe competitive, also concerning its international competitors. So actually, the Digital Europe program has a structure based on specific technologies and technological domains. So here, as you can see, there is a structure that is fostering high performance computing, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and the acquisition of advanced digital skills across Europe, but as well has two transversal pillars concerning the acceleration of the use of digital technologies across Europe. How this has been done? It has been done in particular via the deployment of digital solutions via large-scale pilots in specific domains, from automotive to agriculture, to manufacturing, to healthcare. And as well via the European Digital Innovation Hubs. The European Digital Innovation Hubs has been just launched as an open call, and this has been closed a few days ago. The European Digital Innovation Hubs are going to be for you a one-stop shop across Europe, in particular and at national level, to check if there are relevant opportunities, to check in particular to access to risk finance, to access venture capitalists, to access opportunities of collaboration out of your environment and out of your network. So the European Digital Innovation Hubs are going to be for you really in hand at local level, where you can ask, of course, to support in order to test your solutions, to support, of course, the access to investment, and to support the networking for your enterprise. Actually, the Digital Europe program we have mentioned has based in different pillars, but in particular, there are 5 pillars that are at the basis of the digital program. We have the one on high performance computing that is mainly based to procure exascale machines, upgrade the existing one, and to support quantum computing, and supporting the access and the deployment of the use of supercomputing for small and medium enterprises. We have the pillar dedicated to artificial intelligence, where the European Commission will foster the adoption and the building up of the common European data spaces. We foster the use of the cloud at the edge. And as well, we foster the use in particular of the AI testing and experimentation facilities, where different solutions might be tested in particular cases and in particular sectors, as the one that you have seen at the moment. One of those actually is concerning the development of the testing and experimentation facility for the artificial intelligence edge hardware. And of course, here there is as well the follow-up process of the AI on demand platform, which is called AI for EU. We have another pillar that is the one dedicated to cybersecurity, which is supporting the constituency of the competence center networks and the deployment, of course, of such competence center. Is supporting the quantum communication infrastructure, but as well as the use of certification schemes and cybersecurity tools across Europe. We have the one on advanced digital skills, which would like to foster the acquisition and the development of basic and advanced skills, digital skills across Europe, in particular via supporting the consolidation of master courses on advanced digital skills, but also with short-term trainings and several opportunities of job placement. And as you can see, the horizontal pillar that is more focused on the deployment, in particular in specific application domains. Here we have the digital twin of the Earth via the initiative Destination Earth. We have the actions concerning the support to the Green Deal. Of course, all the actions that are going to be developed on the European blockchain services infrastructure. So the follow-up activities of the EPSI initiative, and as well as all the different actions concerning the support to the European digital innovation hubs that have been cited previously. Actually, there are different type of actions that we have mentioned previously for Horizon Europe. The main ones are going to be the simple grants and the SME support actions. In particular, within the Digital Europe program, the simple grants the European Commission is citing about a flexible type of action that is used for several variety of topics. What I would like to cite to you is the funding rate. As you can see here, there is a 50% of funding rate for those actions, plus 7% for the calculation of the indirect cost. If you remember, for Horizon Europe, we were talking about 25%. And then there is a specific dedicated action to SME, the SME support action. Here we have activities that directly aim to support the SME involving in building up or deploy digital capacities, also by fostering the access to digital capacity to themselves as well. And here the funding rate for SMEs is of the 70% that apply, plus the 7% for the calculation of the indirect cost. So actually, Digital Europe program has been launched its second calls a few days ago. And as you can see, we have several info day that are now that has been launched by today, those days, in particular this week, other ones on the 8th of March, on the 14th of March. I really encourage you, if you find this program interesting for you, to look at what is going to be the agenda of such info days and to see the info days. Okay, I'm going to the finalization of my presentation, but actually we have few slides as well, via some tips that I wanted to give to you as national contact point in Horizon Europe program. So actually, we have talked a bit with our colleagues in Tetra about the false myth that an SME shouldn't collaborate in collaborative projects. I would like to give some information about the specific collaboration of the SME in collaborative projects, since all those funding opportunities, with the exception of the cascading grant and the EIC accelerator, and as well the EIT digital related opportunities, are actually collaborative. So I would like really to foster you to participate on these. And actually, how you can do, of course, we are talking about opportunities that may have, solutions that may have market opportunities in the future. So at first, prior to start writing things or to start the proposal preparation, I really encourage you to sign a non-disclosure agreement with the participants that are taking part in a consortium. You can verify potential issues concerning the non-disclosure agreement and as well concerning the different solutions via the intellectual property help desk. They have released several guidelines and they have also an helpline where you can actually have the possibility to access specific lawyers that are experts in intellectual property issues in order to understand how to write the non-disclosure agreement and how and which kind of specific information you should protect within a consortium agreement. As you know, when we are applying to several applications in Horizon Europe, to all the applications in Horizon Europe, in the case our proposal is going to get funded, we should sign a consortium agreement within the consortium. And actually, there is a model of the consortium agreement that you can have a look at, which is the DESCA model, which give you the possibility to see how the consortium agreements have been commonly structured and which kind of information and articles concern the preservation of the background and the foreground of a specific participation in a project. And of course, I wanted to give to you some examples of collaboration that you can always have the possibility to check via the Cordis related platform. Here I have cited two different projects. For one of those, I would like to let you see a video, so for you to understand better about it. And in particular, concerning Cordis, as you probably know, is accessing all the relevant European funded projects since the 90s. At the moment, we have all the different projects funded under Horizon 2020. As far as I know, there are no information concerning the latest one in Horizon Europe that has been funded. But of course, you can have the possibility also to check what has been funded with your specific technology or focus. So coming to one project has an example of collaboration among Horizon 2020 funded projects. This project, which is called Decode, has been funded and would like to support the people ownership on their personal data. I do not want to tell you more. I would like to let you see this specific video. Let me check in the case I asked to some of you if you can see, listen. If it starts.
Open source tools that are decentralized, privacy enhancing and rights respecting. There are 14 partners, 2 big cities, Barcelona and Amsterdam, cryptography experts, technologists, economists and sociologists that are coming together to build tools that give back control of data to citizens.
I think a lot of people believe that by using the internet they have to give up all their data. That is sort of intrinsic of the internet, but it's not. It's the business models that are behind the services and the companies that we use. Data at the moment is free, open, shared, but not in a good way.
Nowadays data is a very precious asset and is used by companies to provide services that respond to precise needs and desires of people.
For me, Decode is two things. First of all, we don't only complain about companies who do it wrong. It's also about showing how we can do it right, basically. So I like more or less it's more constructive than saying, hey, this is wrong what you're doing. It's also showing what you can do in the right way.
My vision for Decode is to provide platforms that allow users to have more control over their data when they interact with services. On the other side, have people writing services that can easily get access to user data with appropriate privacy controls, because a lot of the creators of services would like to do that. It's just that currently, technically, it's very difficult. And also create platforms where genuinely communities can create services for each other and within the community that kind of respects users' rights.
We employ sophisticated cryptographic techniques to preserve people's privacy, so they can record things in the ledger and verify that something was true without having to reveal their private data or have it stored in the ledger. Their private data always remains stored within their wallet and is not accessible to anybody unless they choose to share it.
The wallet will know that about them, and then they'll be able to use that information so that they can access the community projects without sharing specific details of their actual address or where they live. Perhaps things like their date of birth might be important if they're entitled to vote.
Okay, so actually I wanted to give to you the possibility to better understand, and I would like to come back if it allows me to do it. Actually, how did I find about this? Let me check if it works. Okay, it works. Just for you to understand, actually, I have find this project by checking within Cordis, within the Cordis platform, and use the word distributed ledger. So as you can see, you have the possibility to do it as well, to check all the different opportunities coming from you. Sorry. And now I'm really going to the end of the presentation by giving to you some information also to find additional sources and get engaged, and also additional advices. As you may know, there are several colleagues of mine that are national contact points for Horizon Europe. By clicking here, you can find the national contact point on Horizon Europe in your different member state or associated countries. The national contact points concerning the digital related destinations are organizing themselves to relaunch the IPIL project, which is the NCP, the European NCP network across Europe, which is supporting all the different proposers via several services and related opportunities. One of those is the organization of the brokerage events. In particular, the brokerage events ensure the possibility for you to have opportunities of networking in order to get engaged in related consortia for the future funding opportunities under Horizon Europe. As you can see, there is a platform now that is fostering the long networking, since the event has been already released, but the platform is open, so you can see different colleagues across Europe, and you can actually ask them the possibility to have a meeting and to find related cooperation opportunities within Horizon Europe or, of course, out of it. Okay, I'm happy to reply to your question, and for any additional question, thank you for your attention, and this is my mail address. Okay, so I'll just check if there are questions.
Thank you, Marta. In the comments or in the chat, I didn't see any questions right now. I think if someone wants to ask, you can also put in your microphone and just ask right now.
Yeah.
This is the time to do so. if there is something
Hello,
that you still want to
just one very quick question concerning the different strategies the European Commission is putting forward. So there is certain overlaps in different strategies, let's say the industrial strategy and the blockchain strategy. When we are applying for funding, should we choose one of them, or should we kind of
Dimitar, we didn't hear the or,
Yeah.
the
Sorry.
second part.
Apologies. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
But pretty much the question is, if our innovation gets in several strategies, is covered by several strategies, via multifaceted, should we try to concentrate on one of the strategies the European Union is trying to promote? Or should we try to kind of give the evaluators a deeper look and tell them that we are really trying to cover several areas?
Thank you for the question, Dimitar. Actually, this is really a good question, because in the case, as you mentioned, some strategies and some acts are having an overlap. So actually, we can see the overlap as well. So in the case, and they can see the overlap as well, and it's under their thought to have an overlap, because digital is enabled by several technologies. So actually, of course, you can cite all the different related European policy framework that you find relevant for you. You shouldn't focus to one or to another, because if you have the chance to read them, and I hope you are going to have it also for curiosity, you will see that there is going the possibility to see that within the same policy, several other policies has been cited as well. So it's quite relevant to cite all the different policies that you find relevant for your specific solution. Thank you for the question. Okay, I don't know if you have, if there are other questions. Otherwise, I will stay here after Susanna's speech. So in the case something raised, I can be here, okay?
Okay, good. So I've seen again some faces that we know. And so we are happy to see all of you. I think there is someone with the microphone open. Maybe I hear a noise. So the reason why I'm here, some of you already know us from several Tetra capacity building activities, is more to share our direct experience as an SME presenting proposals and often winning also the projects. So this is my company, you know, FVA, and we are a communication company since the 90s. We have been involved in youth-funded projects since 2000, so we have a long history. Okay, our focus is typically on communication awareness, training, and stakeholder engagement in several sectors. And myself, I'm partner of the company. I'm responsible for the new projects, but I'm also an evaluator for the European Commission. Therefore, I have also this second, let's say, perspective. I know what sometimes we are requested to do, or we are requested to respond on the other side. I see in the chat there is maybe Elo, feel free to intervene if there is something urgent in the chat. And what I would like to do today is to share my experience again as an SME, and actually we have more than we have been awarded of more than 20 projects in different programs, and therefore we can also bring several perspectives, because we have been awarded from the 4th framework program, so very in early 2000, to Horizon Europe, but also Erasmus+, COSME, and several other, let's say, funding source. We typically work as a work package leader, so this means that we have a kind of interesting role inside of the project, despite from the fact that we are a small company. And this is because maybe we can, because sometimes we can bring something that is unique. And this is something that I really advise you to do, because if you are a work package leader, you can have a privileged perspective inside of the consortium. So what are the added value for an SMEs? First of all, as Marta already said, the possibility to enter and to be part of international collaboration. That means that you can really enlarge your perspective, you can learn a lot, you can have great visibility in Europe, and then this is very important, you can generate exploitable assets that then you can sell or you can reuse to make your company grow. Of course, knowledge and also networks are an important asset that you can acquire through the EU-funded projects. And sometimes also the economic continuity, that is not bad, because consider that during COVID-19, the projects that were approved 2 or 3 years ago were ongoing, and therefore we didn't have, let's say, economic breakdown in this period. And then they co-finance the investment. So if you have to make an investment, you have seen sometimes up to 100%, but at least 50% is always granted. And this means that you have to, you can really have some cash flow that you can use for your investment, including hiring new people. Of course, there are barriers. Time, investment, because writing a proposal is not an easy task and is not something that is, I mean, is easy and quick to do, is pretty long. Then you have to get into the business, you have to acquire credibility, you have to be trusted, and this is not easy, especially when you are a newcomer. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and the risk of mistake, but also the fear of mistake is very high. And of course, in this case, it's very important to rely on the national contact point, but also to rely on Digital Innovation Hub, all these entities that have been designed really to support you and to facilitate your work. And then you have to understand how it works, because as you have seen from Marta's presentation, there are dozens of different possibilities with different, completely different logics. And you have you have to know that several aspects are already considered for granted, because they come from an heritage, but maybe you are reading it for the first time, and so you cannot really understand what they are talking about. And then there are the risks. Some risks have already been touched by Marta, but there are other risks. I mean, we faced a situation in which the project coordination ran away with our money, with the pre-financing. And then some project might be closed, as it occurred to one consortium last year. There are several questions about IPR protection. So you really need to be careful around all these topics. How we decide if entering or not entering in a proposal. First of all, if this proposal is strategic for our company. So although reading the call text, you start to be excited and say, oh, this is perfect for me, this is very interesting and whatever, in a certain point you have to take a decision. The main concept is this strategic? First question. Second, is this connected to what I'm doing? Because if you are starting a completely new branch or a completely new topic, and you have to start from scratch, the networks, the logics, and everything, it will be very time consuming unless you want from the very beginning to start this new activity. Otherwise, don't think about the money, think about the strategy. Partnership, if you already cooperated with someone, and therefore they are inviting you, and you know that working with them will be an advantage because you will learn a lot and you will get a lot of interesting insights and information. The results, we already touched before, so the impacts, the quality, the visibility, and then of course always the intellectual motivation. So is working in this project is always a very good opportunity to learn. I see that there are 4 question more about the timing, and so okay, nothing I have to answer is about the timing and about the agenda. So I close this and I go to the next. And this is about the proposal writing. So do you see the proposal writing like this picture or like this picture? So it is a kind of a framed activity, very serious, very, let's say, right brain, or it is a left brain, so something that is more creative. For me, is more right brain, so is more creative, stimulating, and exciting, but is also tiring. And to be honest, in these days, I'm working during the nights to prepare some proposals. And we are also experiencing sometimes a lot of frustration because in a project, you want to put everything, and the partners would like to put everything. But maybe when you are more than one, of course, you have to kind of try to find an agreement, and it's a kind of a short blanket that you have to pull on your side, and everybody is trying to pull this blanket in his own side. And sometimes if the blanket is too short, the evaluators will notify and you will not get the project. And this happened to us a couple of years ago, and it was very, very, very frustrating, to be honest. Which program? So I think that you have a big headache after Marta's presentation, or at least you have an explosion of ideas in your brain. You have to know that all these programs that you have seen have different logics and purpose, as Marta already presented, but they have their own language because they come from different policies, they come from different department, DGs, and therefore the language is different. The language that you read in the call, but also the language that you have to use. And sometimes if you are using the wrong language, you are not understood by the evaluators because they speak another language, and therefore you will not win the proposal. And also each program has a different success logic. They have different priorities. And finally, financial reporting logics. And sometimes when you have several projects in different programs, they are not compatible. And this means that you have to carefully read it before you apply, because otherwise you can face the problem of deciding, even if the project is approved, that you have to go out because this is conflicting with your financing financing rules internal. And this is not very nice. So as a tip, I suggest you, when you go for the first time, go always with someone that already speaks the local language. So don't start from scratch, because especially the first time, it can be really a lot of effort for nothing. But there are, again, the Cordis and all these places in which you can find, partners, and you can enter the first time as, let's say, with a minor role, and then you can grow. So how to identify the program and the topic to apply? Of course, again, I would like to highlight the first concept is have very clear in mind what are your business objectives and go for this. Therefore, you have to understand what are the policies. And again, there are several policies you have to take into consideration. And you have to understand what are the expected impacts. So what the Commission would like to achieve giving you this money, because of course they don't give this money for free. They give this money because they respond to a bigger vision, growth vision, or maybe societal or environmental impact. So you have to take into consideration all these impacts. And these are 2 sentences that I like to cite. this one is from Chiara Pocater and the other is from Iacovos Lioglanis. And the first one is to write, you need to know how to read. And seems a word joke, but indeed is, because you really need to read the whole text and then start writing, not vice versa. And then your objective should be to have a good project. Then you have to describe it, and this is the proposal, but not vice versa. Don't start writing a good proposal and then you are not able to implement a project, because this will be really negative if you are approved. So how to read? First of all, you have to know that each word has a meaning. The topics are 1 page, maybe 2, but very short. And therefore, each word should be carefully contextualized, and you have to understand the background. You have to avoid the confirmation bias. This means that this happens very, very often. You read something, you have your idea in mind, and you interpret what you read. Oh, this is exactly for me. Oh, this is exactly what I want to do. Don't be trapped on this, because sometimes it's not like that. And therefore, you will prepare a proposal that is not what they are looking for. So when you are analyzing a topic, you have to think about what are the documents they refer to. And if there are people that are mentioned, companies or other projects, why they are mentioned. And then what are your unique selling proposition with regard to the topic? So why your proposal will be unique compared to the other, because you know that there will be a lot of competition. And who else do you need to complete your program? Let me just check very quickly if there is something. Is about the mentor, so it's something more technical, so I don't have to answer, not now. So which document does the project refer to? First of all, the work program. Typically, never read just the topic. Go back and look the entire work program, because this will provide you the landscape where you are, and also the objectives and impacts your specific topic is looking for. If there is a reference call, why? For instance, if a project is under digital innovation, or it is under cultural heritage, you have always to be connected to this. And of course, you have to go back and to find the reference policies the document is mentioning. So sometimes a good strategy is to simply take some strange or keywords, go back in Cordis, or go back in DEC portals, or even in Google, and look for these keywords. And sometimes you will look for workshops or documents that are exactly saying and landscaping why this proposal was launched, to respond to what. And then, of course, what are the cross-cutting priorities? Because sometimes there are, I don't know, cross-cutting like social innovation or top-down approaches. So if you don't consider this, this will be a shortcoming for the evaluation. So who is mentioned and why? Sometimes there are projects or initiatives that are mentioned. So I suggest you to look for alliance. So if they are mentioned, is because there is a reason. If they are competing with you and maybe just one project will be approved, it's not very likely that you will win against us. Although sometimes it happens. We just had an experience last summer about the super signature of a project was not approved, and therefore sometimes it happens. But in any case, if you are not mentioned, typically you should be very explicit about why your results, I mean, how, first of all, how you will use the background information, the background results, and particularly of the project that they are mentioned, and if you can create alliance with them to really increase the impact, the final impact, and also your knowledge about this. With regards to the unique selling proposition, some of you already follow our course about this. But again, the unique selling proposition is also important when you prepare a proposal, because the evaluator should have, maybe they have 10 proposals, and they have to choose the one that really pops up against the other. And so you have to understand what are these elements. So what the other don't have compared to you. When you are proposing yourself, like for instance in partner search or maybe in brokerage events, always be very specific. So you look for a specific topic, respond to this. So highlight the dimensions of your company that are fitting, because otherwise a generic profile is identical to other dozen of generic profiles. So they will never choose you. But if they read the specific words that are perfectly fitting, they will select you. So this is a strategy that we typically use. And to be honest, it works, especially when you are, a newcomer and you have to make yourself recognized or popping up from the crowd. And then what else you need if you are proposing a new project? So you have to create a first, let's say, short group of 4 or 5 partners that are already recognized in the context and with regards to the topic. You have to move fast because you know that the work program are released in the draft phase. So if you already understand that will be a specific call that is very interesting for you, don't wait the very last minute, especially for creating the consortium, because otherwise the best fishes will be already catch by someone else. And then be aware, because there are some companies that are everywhere, and those people, if they are in your proposal and also in other proposals that are competitive with you, they will not give you a unique point compared to the others. So it's better to have someone else in that case. This is a conceptual map of a project that we prepared, but it is important to understand that you can really use the map. Some of you also participated to the visual thinking activities that we did, and this is a good way to do it. So define what are the strategic objectives you want to achieve, and this is typically corresponding to the work program, but also the topic. Then how you will reach these strategic objectives. So how this will be the work packages and the tasks, and then what are the impacts. So the impacts not only for your company, of course, but also for the society, the environment, the growth of the company. So this is very important. And more we go, in FP6, FP5, it was not so relevant, but now it is absolutely central to highlight the outcomes and the impacts from the very beginning, very, very clearly in the proposal. We suggest you to use a kind of conceptual mapping in which you, for each activity, you identify what is the what for, so the objective, who are your target audience, so what you will do exactly and what will be your achievements, how, the strategies, methodologies, action plans, tasks. Remember always the KPI, be very specific and put the KPI, number of events, number of activities, number of people that you will reach and interview. And then, of course, the Gantt chart that should be logic, demonstrating that the flow of your activities are very well interconnected. Always remember that your objective is not only to win the project, but then to run it. Because if you have a fantastic proposal and you are so lucky that they will found you, then you have to implement it. And this is the tricky part for me. What we do, I don't know the time. Let me just check. Okay, I just have I have some time more. So what we do, we start reading, commenting, reading again. Second step is to write the strategic and operational objectives. Strategic is what the topic, the call would like to achieve. And operational is how, what will be the objective inside each task and each work package that will drive you through the activities in order to achieve your results and your impact. Then you start to map the operational objectives and what is necessary. Typically, we prepare a kind of table in which we put all the operational objectives. So I don't know, for instance, communication or maybe programming or even needs assessment. So all the different operational objectives that you have to achieve, you have to design, and then who you need. So start mapping the partners and put maybe some X or whatever you like more, but really to make sure that you have all the necessary skills on board. If you don't, look for additional partners, because you really need, this is something that the evaluators will look definitely. Do you have everybody on board? Do you have the right skill? Do you have repetition? Because this is also very important. To demonstrate that each partner has his own unique role and there are no duplication of partners, unless there are different activities in different countries, in which case you can also have duplication because everybody is responsible for several countries or one country or whatever. So mapping skills and partners, and then share the concept. This is something new, but typically it's very useful to organize a workshop with the group of people that are preparing a proposal to really play the devil's role. Some of you participated to the session in which we were using the technique yes, but. This is a very interesting technique in this phase, because you can start putting barriers in everything. So yes, but in every, so try to really chase your, and to really prove the validity of your concept. And then, of course, ask for contribution to the partner, consolidate all this contribution in an integrated vision, and then read again the proposal, being very bad. So they will sigh, but also evaluators sigh, because consider that the evaluators are trying to look what is not working inside of your project. And therefore, in this phase, you start to cut or change. No regrets, because if something is not necessary or maybe is not well described, or you cut it or you remake it. And so, as you can see, there are some constraints. And the Horizon Europe template is very, very constraining. So this cat is the phase that we did the first time that we went in contact with the new template. So from 70 pages to 45, from 50 pages in Horizon 2020 to 30 pages. And considering that we were already facing a problem with 50 pages for the CSA, for instance, imagine the challenge. Section 4 and 5 disappear, the impacts as a specific, very complex canvas. And then there are novelties like the gender equity plan. And then consider that the previous calls in October were the first time for everybody. This was an advantage in one end, in the other end, nobody had a clue. And so we were all trying to invent new formats. But there are cases that are worse. Indeed, with the pedal partners that I've seen that are somewhere around, a couple of years ago, we presented a proposal for USAID Invest, that is a government program in US, United States. They ask you to present a 10 pages PPT with no template. So imagine where to start, what to do. And this was very interesting as an exercise, because we learned to be very essential, very at the point. And to be honest, the way we have learned to work in Horizon Europe was very effective also in this specific case. So the templates for Horizon 2020, Horizon Europe are very effective to structure your mind, to design your project idea in a way that can be sold to someone else, including, for instance, investors. So again, keep in mind the objective that should be very clear, pertinent to the work program and the topic, realistically achievable. So don't shoot numbers or ideas that you will never be able to achieve, because in a certain point you will really have to demonstrate that you achieve them in the reviews or in other, let's say, form of evaluation. So be careful, because there are people that are launching numbers, and then even the evaluators are not stupid when they read the numbers that are not realistically achievable within the program. Could be a problem for you. And then measurable. This is the KPI. Again, the KPI are fundamental. You should demonstrate these 4 points when you describe your objective. Remember that the objectives are the first pages that the evaluators will read. And if they are not clear, pertinent, realistically achievable, and measurable, they will lose the attention on your proposal. Of course, some concepts like the communication and dissemination are central, but also the sustainability and the exploitation. So how you will be able to package your results to be then used by yourself, but also by someone else. The stakeholder engagement, you remember design thinking, start from your user. All this is very important, because otherwise you will not be able to demonstrate that you will reach them in the most effective way. And the collaboration with other projects for the exploitation of results, but also knowledge sharing and learning, is absolutely central nowadays. I'm nearly at the end. So how the evaluation works. This is very interesting to know. This is the reason why I also applied for being an evaluator, although it's really time consuming. It works like that. There are individual phases in which you read the proposal, and then there are joint discussion. There is this mechanism of shortcoming and weaknesses. So the shortcoming is something that is not 100% convincing, so is a kind of minor error. But if there is a major error that is considered a weakness, in that case, you will lose immediately the points. So the shortcoming, typically 3 shortcoming is 1 point that you lose. The weakness is 1 point per se. And sometimes if it is a major weakness, the proposal is not evaluated further. So pay attention. Always, when you read the proposal, try to be an evaluator. And then they have a very short time to evaluate. So they have typically couple of hours per proposal, 3 hours per proposals. Imagine you read 5 proposals in 1 day. At the end, you have a mess. So or you are able to really pop up from the crowd, or they will get in a certain point confused. And then another interesting point that I realized is that the evaluators are jumping from one part to the proposal. So they are not reading the proposal straightforward, but they are going back and forth. So typically objectives, work packages, impacts, then go back to the methodology, and therefore don't count on the fact that they will discover. So every single piece should be self-sustainable or self-readable kind of, and be consistent, because I discovered that some evaluators are using the find facility to look for a specific word. So for instance, if you talk about hackathon, and then you just mention the hackathon in the methodology, but you don't mention it in the tasks description, they look and they don't find it. So they say there is no compatibility between what you have in mind and what you are really doing in the work packages. Use image graphics connection, because this will relax the reading and facilitate the interpretation of the data. With regards to the traps that are very common, sometimes you have a great project, but unfortunately it's not in topic, so it's out of scope. Or you are not popping up, you are not defining your unicity and why they should choose you compared to the other. Again, sometimes lack of consistency between various parts, including the KPI. In one place you say we will reach 1,000 users, and then you just reach 100 in another place. So dedicate 1 hour to really check the consistency around the proposal. Who does what? This is very important, not only for the proposal, but rather for the work. Because in a certain point, you will discover that, well, this is not written, I will not do it. And this is not what you want, because otherwise the coordinator should have a bigger responsibility of trying to work in negative condition. If you make everybody happy, your proposal will be fragile. You have to find a compromise. In a certain point, the democracy in proposal writing should stop. Not be too much self-referential. I read a proposal in which they said, we are the only ones that can do this work, the other, something like that. And I also read the evaluation summary report, because unfortunately we were in the consortium, and they said this is against any rule, and therefore the project will be rejected, something like that. It was really bad. But in any case, don't be too much, don't be too self-confident. Always justify why you are self-confident. And then consider the risks and the mitigation. All the project have some risks, this is normal, but if you have appropriate mitigation measures, you can justify it. I'm done. So, questions?
If no one else has a question, I would like to ask, actually. I would like to ask, like, how much time should a person take to really write a good proposal? Because I assume that if you are really a beginner and it's your first time, you are going to run out of time.
From our experience, typically a proposal writing requires 6 person month in total, a very good proposal. Sometimes we also prepare the proposal in 15 days. Maybe 2 people, 7 days. And we also want it, but this is not the case. Typically, you have to consider that at least you have to invest 3 person month. That means that I would like to hear maybe also from Civita, because also you write proposal for someone else. Typically, 3 person month, considering person month, I mean the entire consortium. So looking for partners, writing the proposal, double checking. So let's say from around the 3 person month, I think is a good concept.
Yeah, I think that from Civita's side, I would agree with this, that 3 months is kind of a good timeline. But definitely organize 3 months in the way that there's already set meetings and set deadlines for some kind of paragraphs of the funding proposal. So it has to be really thought through how to organize this. But just I think time is a valuable point that shouldn't be underestimated.
Yep.
Do we have any questions?
Well, I have another quick question, predominantly concerning rejections. So I presume Susanna have had plenty of rejections. And how do you deal with them? Because every time I get a rejection, I really take it hard.
Well, the rejections are, of course, something that you have to deal with. It is much more frustrating when you get 14.5 and you are in the waiting list. Marta, I knew Marta 3 or 4 years ago, because I called her because we had 4 projects in waiting list. And we didn't know if to laugh or to cry. None of the 4 projects were approved. And that year, we didn't have not a single project approved. And we had 4 projects with 14.5, so nearly the maximum. I know project that with 15 didn't get the approval. So this means that you had the excellence, you couldn't do better, and you are not approved. This happens. And always reading the evaluation summary report is a very good exercise, also because you understand the logic, and so you understand where you failed. Although it's like the school, sometimes you know everything and you get a lower score than expected, but typically it is a very fair process, and therefore if there is a score, maybe it can be half point less and lower or higher, but typically is not a big surprise. With some experienced writers, we always kind of make an estimation on what a project will get. Sometimes we are even positively surprised, and we got some projects that we were not really counting on, and vice versa. And then, yep, there is the question of the resubmission. Now, maybe Marta can also help in this. If you have a good project, analyze the evaluation summary report carefully. And especially in ICT, there is a big possibility to make a resubmission. Of course, a resubmission is not time consuming like the original submission. But it's not very easy. Luis is adding this question. Luis is here together with me, because you have to make sure that you are not purely resubmit a project that maybe is out of scope because there are slight difference between the second and the first.
If I can add, Susanna, a bit on this. Actually, before being a national contact point, I was as well preparing proposal under APRE projects department with Chiara Pocaterra that was mentioned in the quote. So actually, as Susanna was mentioning, the resubmission is for sure something that you can always try to readapt a proposal, but take always in mind about the topic call that you are replying to, because otherwise it can be, you know, difficult to have such proposal supported in the future. But what I wanted to mention is that look at the different complementary action that has been already funded. That's why I was mentioning about the Cordis platform, because there you can find, of course, skills and skilled partner that already know what is around in the technological environment and ecosystem, what is around in the European Commission thoughts. Probably they have already talked with their project officers in the past to look at follow-ups, because it is an interest of the European Commission to support the follow-up of what they have been funded previously. So this is for sure as well something that it's an advice. And have a look as well for you to those consortia, because all the different barriers that Susanna was mentioning, which are of course the major barriers for a startup or for a small and medium enterprise, can be in a way decreased with the experience of the experienced partners in a consortium. So you may have less waste of time, let's say, in comparison to what can be done.
Yes, typically going to Horizon Europe or Horizon 2020 as a coordinator is not a good idea if it's the first time, to be honest. To be honest, we don't go as coordinator because we are a small company. Also because then we will have a lot of let's say bureaucratic stuff that we don't want to face. Maybe we are initiator, we are the coordination team for the proposal writing, but we don't want to have this task. While if you are in another position, you can really sell your unique advantage to be partner in a consortium. So as Marta said, if you see in Cordis, but now, for instance, even in the call text, there are some in the topic in the participant portal, there are some partner search. So this is a good option. I personally like better to go when now I don't. luckily, I try to work with the people that I know. But before, we were going to the brokerage events, all these activities. So you really can find a good consortia and to start new domains and to start collaboration without being the initiator. That is really time and effort consuming.
Okay, thank you. I think since the time is up, we really have to wrap up here. I would just take just 5 more minutes of your time to talk about the mentoring part of the masterclass, just to make it clear how this is going to be happening. And for that, we have Inga here from Startup Division, who will give you a little overview of what's going to be happening next with the mentoring aspects.
Hello, everyone. It is really nice to see you all here. As Ella has mentioned, my name is Inga. I'm a consultant in Startup Division and one of the project partners in Tetra, and we will be responsible for the part of mentoring in the public funding master classes. We offer mentoring for all NGI beneficiaries. The main added value of the mentoring would be through these sessions, you would be able to get an individual assessment of your needs, some guidance from our mentors on choosing the most suitable funding option for you, as well as compiling a good proposal. So we have compiled quite a few experts who have expertise in all of the topics that will be described through our webinar sessions. So we have experts like Susanna, who could help you out on the open calls and proposal writing. We have experts like Marta, who could talk about more with you, go a bit more in depth about public funding options around Europe. We also have experts on EIC Accelerator, Cascade Funding, and Horizon Europe, and public tendering. So how this is going to work? So some of you have already registered for the registration form. Each NGI beneficiary who shared interest in mentoring could get up to 3 hours of mentoring. So you could allocate this as you please. So you can either choose 3 different topics that you would like to go deeper with our experts, or you could maybe allocate all 3 of your hours on one person and talk about just one of the public funding topics. So after this webinar, we will be sharing more information with all the registered NGI beneficiaries, how it's going to go. We will share this mentoring sheet with you, where you can choose specific time slots for the mentoring sessions. The mentoring is actually going to start in April. So after all the sessions end, we do this to make sure that you will have time to change your minds as well. So if after going through all the sessions, you decide that you need help on one more specific topic, that you will be able to choose that topic instead of the other. So I guess that's all from my side. I'll be sharing more information with you via email, and let's hope we can see you in one-to-one sessions. Thanks.
Thank you, Inga. So if someone doesn't get an email like within the next week regarding the mentoring, please let me know. You have my email address, so contact me and say it so we can contact you. And thank you from our side. I have added the feedback link into the chat, and we would highly appreciate if you would take those 2 minutes and give us some feedback on the webinar. You don't have to write anything there. It's just a rating from 1 to 5, how you like the topics, how you like the speakers. And this would be highly valuable for us to make our future webinars even better. So this is it. I will not keep you any longer. We are 4 minutes after the time, but I think that's okay. So thank you for everyone.
Thanks a lot for your participation, and see you next time.
Exactly. See you next week, next Thursday. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.